Now, let's join Drew Hayden Taylor, who graced the campus of Concordia University.
On October 4th, CUTV News had a chance to have a conversation with Native author, playwright, Drew Hayden Taylor, who was speaking on October 4th at Concordia University.
My name's Drew Hayden Taylor. I'm from the Curve Lake First Nations, which is a small Ojibwe reserve, about a half an hour north of a town called Peterborough. That's where I was born and raised, and that's where I live, and I am one of those rare breeds of animals called a professional writer. That is to say, I do not have a day job. I do not spend my afternoon saying, "Would you like fries with that?"
Yeah.
I'm here to do the annual Gale Vallis Caucus lecture at Concordia tonight.
And what is that lecture about?
I'm going to be lecturing primarily about Native humor in sort of my journey through Native humor and how it sort of permeates meaning the Native communities, every facet of our society, and how now it's through the work of various Native writers begins to permeate the larger dominant culture's media.
How long have you been doing the writing gig?
25 years. I've been writing. My first play came out in '89, and I work in almost every different genre. Everything from television, documentary, theater, short stories, journalism, novels. I've written, I think, in every medium except poetry. And I may take a weekend off and write a book of poetry just to see if I can do it. I'm here to talk about something I know and love and think will be of interest to almost everybody. I just want to go out, do my lecture / humor, and hopefully people will come away with sort of certain more knowledge about Native people, about our sense of humor, and any Native people who happen to be in the audience will just sort of come away having celebrated the magic and the wonder of the Aboriginal sense of humor. A lot of this comes from the fact that about 10 years ago, I wrote and directed a documentary for the National Film Board on Native humor called Redskins, Tricksters, and Puppy Stew. And then based on the success of that, I decided I wanted to do a book on Native humor. Or actually, not just on Native humor, but I wanted to do a book about, let me try this again. I wanted to do a book about Native humor, but I also wanted to do a book of Native humor. Because I've read some stuff on humor that's actually quite dry and boring, and it's that old saying about the operation was a success, but the patient died. So I wanted to do something that explored and deconstructed Native humor, but also had examples of it. So the book, which was called Me Funny, I take much of my lecture from the information in that, it's also punctuated with a lot of humor. So hopefully I've had a lot of success in talking about Native humor all over the world, because true humor is universal. What makes me laugh makes the dominant culture laugh, and what makes the dominant culture laugh makes me laugh.
Native humor differentiate itself from other forms of humor from other groups?
Well, that's a difficult question. I mean, entire PhDs and master's theses have been written on the topic. As I said, most humor is universal. There's no particularly native way to boil an egg, but there are certain characteristics in Native humor that are more predominant, and those being the concept of our humor is very self-deprecatory. We love to make fun of ourselves as an individual, as a nation, or as all nations. And also there's a lot of teasing. That's the second thing. Native people love to tease, and often it's a sign of acceptance. That when you go to a community and you're teased, it means you're accepted, because it's impolite to tease a stranger, at least to his face. And there's even an anthropological term for that kind of teasing. It's called permitted disrespect. Right? And the best way of discussing the concept of cultural humor is it's like cooking with chicken. You have tandoori chicken, you have chicken cacciatore, you have McChicken. It's all chicken, but it's the spices you use to cook that chicken that gives it its cultural uniqueness. Same with humor. Well, I just got off a 3-week tour promoting my new novel. It's actually 6 months old, Motorcycles and Sweetgrass, for which I've been nominated for the Governor General's Award for Outstanding Literature, and I should find out in a week or two if I've won, knock on plaster. And in the more near future, I'm working on a new collection of humorous articles and essays that will be out in about a month. It's called Postcards from the Four Directions, and that's going to be my 22nd book. I am also this year writing the Aboriginal Achievement Awards.
I remember meeting you about 20 years ago, right after the Oka crisis in Kanasadaga, and you had mentioned you were writing, you were, I guess, mulling it over in your mind, a story on a vampire, a native vampire.
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, I did a play called A Contemporary Gothic Indian Vampire Story. It was produced once. Didn't really. It wasn't. I didn't really care for it. It really didn't say what I wanted it to say, and so I put it away. And then I was asked to write a novel, and I decided to blow the dust off that novel, off the play, and adapt it as a novel. And I did that, and it was called The Night Wanderer. And it was published about 4 or 5 years ago, before all this Twilight stuff happened, and it's actually done quite good. I've been very proud of it. You know, something new in the genre, a native vampire novel. I think I broke some new ground with that one.
Could you break it down a bit? I mean, I remember you describing it. I'd rather hear it from your mouth than mine.
Well, basically, the number one thing I had to do. Well, the reason I wanted to do it was. We as Native writers and as Native people have had to deal with the concept of cultural appropriation. When non-Native writers take Native stories and take them and write them. And I wanted to turn the tables, turn about is fair play, where I wanted to take a European legend or story and indigenize it. So I decided to take the vampire legend and bring it down home to the res. Buy my books. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll have a cathartic moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. This is Clifton Nicholas for CUTV News.
We'll check out Raconte Internationale, the documentaire de Montréal, after the break.
Les mots sont plus utiles pour apprendre à se connaître. La discussion est le seul maître mot. On n'a pas besoin de vérifier nos originaux. Les mots sont plus utiles pour apprendre à se connaître. La discussion est le seul maître mot. Yes, on dit l'instrument des Jamil Orchestra de la ville de Strasbourg. Toujours là pour mélanger tous les styles. Du reggae à la jungle, du dub au jazz.
CUTV has been following the Montreal International Documentary Film Festival since November 10th. Today, we present you the Master Class, brought to you by Isabelle Lavigne.